of the Big Money Show. They did that for me, maybe. California. I'm Taylor Riggs, along with my epic co-host, and with us for the hour, Michael Lee, strategy founder. Michael Lee, great to have you.
Thanks for having me. Good to see you guys again.
Good to see
Let's
you.
get into it. President Trump set on making Greenland part of the United. Love having you here. Desperate for your thoughts.
Yeah, so something is rotten in Denmark, literally. Because it makes no sense for them not to want to do a deal with the United States. Okay, it's going to take over $100 billion of capital expenditures to be able to extract the oil, extract the minerals. Denmark doesn't have that type of money, and if they were going to do something, they would have already done it. Okay, and we're so used to looking at a map like this, when the reality, the Earth is a globe. And so all of Russia's strategic military assets are in that northern part of the globe next to Finland, right? All their ballistic missiles, all their submarines, okay, all their deadly warships, it all exists up there. And any sort of ballistic missile attack from Russia comes right over Greenland. And to be able to set up this Golden Dome or to intercept those missiles, you want to get it at the crest in the air, which you're much better positioned from Greenland than anywhere else on Earth, okay? Additionally, China, like, so the North Pole, where Santa is fine, but around him, it's breaking up. And so you're going to start to see massive Chinese tankers travel through there, delivering goods to Europe, which means there's a high probability that Chinese submarines are already navigating the waters out there. So the bigger so it's directly in NATO's interest for the U.S. to have a controlling interest there. It's directly in Greenland's interest because they're never going to be able to mine it, and you could get as many as 500 million barrels a year of oil out of there, so they're never going to profit from it. So their politicians are likely at somewhere on the take. That's my only logical conclusion. Because remember, the Nord Stream 2 pipeline, one of the board members was Gerhard Schroeder, the former prime minister of Germany, was instrumental in setting that up before the Russians blew up their own pipeline. So, like, I don't. Something's wrong here. Trump is right to push this issue. And for people that look at this objectively, the U.S. is doing a good thing for the West, for the United States, and for the world.
Okay, but Jackie, the critics would say,
when they show up.
NATO is a direct slap in the face to every American. All right? They have free health care for life. They have government-funded pensions. We have $40 trillion in debt. We don't have free health care. We don't have pensions for life, okay? And a lot of it, and like their economies and their countries exist on the back of our military, on us spending $1 trillion a year on our military. So NATO can do what we tell them or cease to exist. Like it's not, and like it may sound braggadocious to say something like that, but it's the reality. NATO is a joke. There are some countries that punch above their weight in this bloc, but it's not like you have Germans and a lot of these other countries practicing with wooden weapons because they don't have the money for ammunition. Like this is, it's laughable, and somehow it's a crime that Trump says this out loud, right? And so, again, this makes sense for Denmark. This will be a meaningful amount of revenue. If you can get up to $20 billion of annual revenue with the 50-50 split, which is, and they tried this in the first Trump administration. They tried to strike a deal with Greenland and Denmark, and it didn't quite get there. I think they have to get it over the line now because, like, Trump is a deal maker. But, you know, their government brings in $200 billion a year, another $10 billion to that government. That matters.
You're talking about
That's
$20 billion a year in revenue to Greenland?
10.
That would make everybody in that island a millionaire multi-times over. There's like 56,000 people on that island.
They're all millionaires.
You make a multi-millionaire.
Yeah, give me a U.S. passport, too.
That's the goal.
So this works for everybody. So the pushback leads me to believe that these European leaders that are pushing it back are on the take.
Okay. Love the commentary. We're going to leave it there. I want your thoughts quickly on TSMC, Michael Lee. Revenue jumps 26% year over year. Profit tops estimates. And then they guide for 30% revenue growth this year alone. One of the biggest surprise was CapEx. Last year, they spent about $41 billion. This year, they're guiding $52 to $56 billion in CapEx. But today, more spending on CapEx is a good thing because that means that they are still seeing AI demand. You're not worried about CapEx spend. How do you think about chip makers and TSMC?
Yeah, look, I think the surprise is that people are surprised and the stock reaction and everything that's going on here. Like, this is going to happen for years. And if anything, you're going to see a meaningful acceleration before a deceleration. Like, this is nothing new. If we're going to be in an AI bubble, it's years from now. Like, we are nowhere near then. You have some of the big names like Microsoft trading at below market multiples. A company that I love, CoreWeave, they're up big on this news today.
We're laughing because Dagan, I think, would come for you if you said CoreWeave. So I'm glad that Lydia's in the chair today.
Well, like, again, like the critics of CoreWeave don't really understand like the depreciation schedule of the chips, or that they get the 6th largest allocation from NVIDIA every time NVIDIA comes out with a new GPU. And the ROI on these GPUs is between 30 and 40%. And if you can make 30 and 40% renting something out, why wouldn't you lever to the hill? Right? So it's again, like the naysayers are always going to be the naysayers. And like once you get a deeper level of understanding, you get to the next level of naysayer, which is, I can't believe these numbers are real. This can't be true. And then the final stage is acceptance, where I am. And then this is one of the biggest.
Guys, pro leverage on this stuff. We know that. Okay.
3-step program advice right there. Thank you, Michael Lee. Coming up, Zohran Mamdani making a surprise move to help small.
You know what economic justice means? Its definition is, we're going to take your money.
Oh yeah, it's the warm embrace of socialism.
Yes.
So look, the reason why the cost of living and there's so much economic injustice in the city is because of the regulation. Right? Like this city is like one of the most regulated areas of the face of the earth, because the state of New York is no picnic either, right? There are agencies you couldn't imagine kind of growing up, spending a lot of time here, now living in a free state known as Florida. Like you can just see the differences with the way business is done and the way things are done. And so, look, I think Mamdani's politics are as fluid as a glass of water. And so if he's going to govern to be successful, right, if he has higher aspirations, he's going to have to, I think he's going to have to be successful, because being an unbelievable failure, I think, only works for Gavin Newsom. I don't know that any other politicians are going to get that sort of leeway, because Bill de Blasio's gone, right? Like, and for good reason, right?
This is kind of what I was trying to say also.
So if he's going to try to do things that work, right, and act like a communist, but really just be practical and try to improve the quality of life for the average American, well then fine. Like you could play a communist on TV and be a realist in person. Like I'm okay with that.
I know a few have lasted a while. One of them, his name rhymes with Sanders, so that you can stick around for a while.
Extreme moves.
Yeah, look, I think the low propensity Trump voter is focused on domestic issues, and this affordability is a big one. And I think you're going to start seeing the tunes change for a lot of these people that are just put their arms up and they're not going to vote once they get their tax refund. Okay, and then that 30-year fixed mortgage, you're making real progress, and like it really blew out after Silicon Valley Bank. And there's a combination of rates going up. Okay, when rates go up very fast, it's not easy for bank balance sheets. Plus the Fed running off their balance sheet. Like, so you lost a lot of shelf space on bank balance sheets to hold agency mortgages. Okay, and so historically, agency mortgages traded 175 basis point premium, the 30-year fixed to the 10-year treasury. That would put you at about 585 right now, 590, and we're still at 606. So the Fed going from quantitative tightening to quantitative easing, you're already seeing some effects in that. Fannie and Freddie buying $200 billion worth of agency mortgages is going to make a huge difference. And so maybe instead of trading at a premium at 175, we trade to a discount, because I do not think long-term interest rates are going down.
Wait, do you like the Fannie Freddie? To me, it's expansion of their balance sheet. Do you like that?
I love it. Yeah, because there is a dislocation in the market, okay, caused by previous administrations, and you have a problem. You're destroying the American dream. And like, these are housing agencies. For them to buy more of their own inventory is that's not really wild or crazy. It's something that we've done here for a long time. And if you're trying to address the needs of a nation of a problem, because during COVID, you had these people that were ready to live in condos, apartments, co-ops, tiny homes, move to bigger, more space, and that kind of once-in-a-generation shift ate up all the supply. Then you have the BlackRocks, the Blackstones, and all these other institutional buyers gobbling up as many single-family homes as humanly possible. And so you're in this logjam that's going to take some time to work it out. And if you want to accelerate that so people can own a home, I'm 100% all right with that, because these are agency mortgages. And you can see the pricing and dislocation in the market, and maybe we get a little bit of dislocation in the right direction to where those are trading at a discount to that 175. So like I think these are great moves.
It's a little Barney Frank roll the dicey.
Right.
To me is what I'm saying on the $200 billion. Now, maybe you're right, but it's always kind of like
it's their own supply that they've already put out into the market. Yeah, but
don't get high in your own supply, though, Mike.
Yeah,
that's what they always say.
Look,
if the market,
these aren't ninja loans. These aren't no doc loans. These are already loans that went out there that count as tier 1 capital on bank balance sheets. Okay, and what all you're it's a little bit of quantitative easing, just from a different agency, an agency that has the money to do it versus the Fed printing money to do all these other things. I think the more this administration could do to focus on the domestic agenda versus Iran, Venezuela, Greenland, and to show that for normal people in America, they got kicked in the teeth during the Biden administration. This is not President Trump's fault, but he has to fix it if he wants Republicans to stay in power. And it would be nice if occasionally Republicans in Congress or the Senate would go along with him because he's exponentially more popular than they are. And if they want to have any level of power going forward, it's going to need to be on his coattails. So maybe marry themselves to his politics.
Okay. We can have a debate. The risk side of the Fannie Freddie thing makes me concerned if the housing market were to collapse and they've expanded in this way. But we are out of time. I just want.
Whole dairy contains more nutrients, protein, calcium, phosphorus, vitamins A, B, and D, more essential omega-3 fatty acids, and helps people feel longer. A 28,000-person study in Sweden said that those who ate 50 grams or more of high-fat cheese daily had a 13% lower risk of dementia. Your thoughts?
Yeah, look, if you've, well, first of all, like when they add raw milk to the school menu, then we know we're really on board. But it's unbelievable that we had this food pyramid that was literally upside down, and you got somebody in there that's logical and sane and actually flipped it upside down. And so people need to eat less sugar, less carbs, more fat. Milk is an unbelievably healthy way to get high quality fat in your body.
Jackie, my parents are with me right now taking care of my daughter, and my mom